Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Spellweaver video. Today I just wanted to do an overview, a cover of the latest version we've got out, the latest update. This is another big one, folks. This is another pretty big balancing patch that came out, and holy hell do we have some stuff to talk about. A new card. I know that's what everyone is that's what the biggest thing that's going to be coming out of this patch or this update now, but I'm actually going to save our new card for last. I'm going to talk about all the other stuff first. So credits are implemented. That's cool. Sat down, watched them, watched my name scroll by at thumbs up. That I thought that was pretty cool at any rate. If you contributed, your names are in the comments, or no, not the comments, the credits. You guys are going to have to bear with a few slip-ups in my words, as because I'm perfect all the other times. I'm running on what's probably approaching 24 hours without sleep. I had some stomach issues. Something I ate didn't agree with me, so I'm turning my insomnia into something productive. So I had intended for there to be a tournament, one of the tournament deck spotlights. Probably do that tomorrow or maybe Friday. Don't really plan on seeing that today. Maybe, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Anyway, so first off, bug fixes. You guys can read these all on your own. The spark is officially can be used on both players, on either player's turn. It didn't say it could, but it could, so now it's just clarified. A number of other clarification and a couple of just bug fixes. You guys can read these. These are not what I'm here to discuss. What I'm here to discuss is these. Now, first off, Bezarak has been replaced. Don't worry, this isn't anything official from the devs, but considering the devs have acknowledged that this game needs more demons, you could expect to see Bezarak down the line coming back with an army of demons behind him, coming out in a very demon-heavy or demon-oriented expansion. We are going to talk about what happened to Grand Reunion and Jorhil's Silencer. And we're really going to just talk about all of these. I have the list here in front of me, and so we're going to go in and we're going to talk in detail about every one of these. And again, the new card that came out, Bezarak's replacement, I'm going to save that for the end of the video. To discuss, because that's what I want to spend most of my time on. So first off, Grand Reunion. Now originally this card's entire text read down here at the start of your turn, or when you play this card, if you control a fairy, elf, plant, and spirit, you win the game. But now Grand Reunion actually does something. It actually is worth keeping around. It's actually almost worth playing. I can't wait to see the decks that come out of this. So at the end of your turn, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You may put a creature with level 2 or less on from them on the field. Put the rest shuffled back in the bottom of your deck. There are elves, fairies, plants, and spirits, all of them that are under level 2 or less. So this card could potentially rip you some very, very important cards. Some of the stuff that just comes to mind, powerful stuff that's level 2 or less. At the end of your turn, here, have a Thunderstorm Titan. End of your turn, have a Protector of the Innocent. A 4/4 with Vigilance. That's a hell of a good value, in my opinion. Like I said, I can't wait to see what comes out of this, even if you're just kind of playing good cards to get pulled off Grand Reunion, and hey, maybe you pull that spirit you're looking for and win the game. I like how Grand Reunion's win condition is very much an afterthought in its new in this new update, and so I'm really looking forward to what people can do with this deck or this card. I only have the 1 copy, so I'm not really going to be experimenting with it all that much, but I'm so glad this card got changed. So next we're going to go to the only epic I don't actually have a single copy of, Droids Silencer. Now first off, it got buffed up to 6 damage, 6 energy. I think it had 4 or 5. I think it was 5. But whenever an enemy hero plays a non-shrine card, cancel that card. It then, after it cancels it, loses energy equal to that card. So, but if it has no energy, sacrifice it. So if you can't, so it cancels it, and then checks to see if it can pay the cost. So if you have 3 energy and your opponent plays something that's 4 energy, then it still cancels it, but you sacrifice the silencer in the meantime. The mana cost, or the level requirement plus the mana cost for this card might still be a little too high. I'm not 100% sure we're going to see this card really hitting competitive play, but the simple fact of the matter is that I think it's actually it's definitely more playable now, and I think it might actually be like, just on the verge of being playable. I would like to see someone turn this into something very, very effective, because it would really make it so that you'd have to play more intelligently, be a little more clever and playing around the silencer, taking out the silencer with stuff that isn't really important in order to push through your more important cards. Plus, this would pretty much help dominate control versus control matchups. So next, we move on to one of our heroes. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Zash the Flamebringer. I think we have a bit of a graphical issue or typo here. According to the patches, his skill now costs 1 mana. I was thinking its cooldown got reduced. So this costs 1 mana. Circle of Fire, an enemy creature can't block this turn. I think, yeah, it's down from 2 mana, which was terrible. I don't think this makes Zash Flamebringer playable just yet. I still don't think his ability is still too situational, You're either going to be your creatures are either going to be too fast to be blocked by your opponent, or your opponent's going to have too many creatures for his ability to really win you the game. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I still think basic Darius is just going to be the hero to go with, because he gives you the card draw that you're kind of missing in like a mono rage rush kind of deck. And even though there was a change to Lamp, which we'll talk about in a second, I still feel like Rage Wisdom, kind of a rush tempo deck, could still be extremely viable. So the next 2 cards we're going to be looking at are two Wisdom cards that got a minor tweak. First off, we have it's the Spectral Alright, right? Yep. Spectral Alright now only requires 1 Wisdom level. It's still a level 2 creature, but I think it was double Wisdom before. The same is with Force Field. What it does is it makes these cards a little more playable because they're a little more splashable. You don't have to dive as heavily into Wisdom in order to play them, which is nice because it helps that energy synergy that I've been a fan of since I started playing the game. And I would really like to see Force Field kind of make its way into competitive play. It's a really fun card. I had a lot of fun playing around with it, and I would love to play a control deck where Force Field really can really shine. But while we're here, next on the list is wrong one. Lamp of Zephyr. Now, with Lamp of Zephyr, its mana, both in activation and playing, weren't changed. What was changed was it now requires double Wisdom levels. Originally, it was 1 Wisdom level, 1 colorless or aspectless level. I forget exactly what the term for that is, but anyway. So it makes it a lot less splashable. It's not going to be seeing play in anything that could play Wisdom. It's going to be played in pretty much just Wisdom-centered decks. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, you only need to hit 3 levels with the Wisdom Nature deck, the elf deck that everyone hates. But we'll be talking about why that isn't the case in a second. In which case, actually, these are the next ones on our list. So, the reason why that doesn't work is because Ancient Trent and Fae of Charm both made it so that you have to have double nature in order to play them. Before this, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, every single card in nature only required 1 nature level to play. Nature was extremely splashable in pretty much any deck that wanted to play it. Not so much anymore because the 2 highest value rares, in my opinion, the Ancient Trent and the Fae of Charms, are now double nature. So in order to play both Lamp and those 2 cards in this deck, you need to be playing, you need 4 levels, which in a rush or in a tempo deck, no, that you're not, you're not really looking to hit 4 levels. You're trying to do 2, maybe 3 max. The only cards that were worth playing 3 for were Ancient Trent and Fey Charm. Now, you could still play Nature Wisdom, you just probably won't be playing Lamp. You kind of have to choose between these 2 and Lamp, and let's face it, these 2 are much more valuable than Lamp. Oh, also, Ancient Trent is now optional. You don't have to activate his ability when you attack with him. That's a minor change, kind of working with that, or working around that. Fey Charm, Ancient Trent. If your opponent had 1 creature, Ancient Trent would trigger first. He would knock it to 0 speed, and Fey Charm would then take over, and it would just be, you know, a useless move basically. So now you can, if you have both of these, you can activate this one and not this one. But anyway, so next we have a card that was seeing quite a bit of play, but this is not a nerf. This isn't a buff. It's more or less just a clarification. It is a slight buff because a spell or artifact, it can hit artifact creatures like Airship Explorer and Golems. Before it couldn't hit that because it said non-shrine, non-creature. So now it can hit artifact creatures, which isn't a huge deal, but it might play a big role down the line when we get more cards in this game. Well, a lot of people were clamoring for it, so Lord Karthus did get a slight nerf. I mean, it was kind of more of a finger wag, or kind of a, you know, a flesh wound, as you might say. The big change, whenever another creature dies, you gain 2 life. So he doesn't count himself. So if you play him, kill something, and your opponent has an immediate answer for it, you're only guaranteed 2 life instead of 4. Now that can be a big deal in certain games, but it's still, all it basically means is, if you're gonna try and win with Karthus Cataclysm, you just need, there needs to be 1 extra creature in play in order for you to win with it. I mean, it's not a huge loss, but hey, at least it's a little something. But now we get to the coup de grace, the big one, the one that everyone wants to talk about, not Nightbringer. Zara, Sovereign of Souls. 4 mana, 4 levels, 2 corruption, 2 anything. 4/4 speed 1, unstoppable, which is good, especially considering its other effect. Other creatures have -1 attack, -1 health. That's you and your opponent's health, or creatures. And whenever another creature dies, put a Might emblem on Zara. Holy hell. This is the kind of thing that corruption needed. This is the kind of big late game, you know, play this in a physical card game, you're windmill slamming it on the table, just like you are Karthus. I've played a number of games with this card, experimenting with it in a number of different decks. The main one is a deck that I've been experimenting with that I built myself. It's a secret for right now, so you guys are going to have to keep quiet about it. But Boltor does build his own decks sometimes. I don't spotlight them because they're they're either in work, or B, I like to spotlight other people. I like to get other people's names out there. But at any rate, back to Zara. I mean, the abuse of this card can't be understated. You can play it with Blood Witch Harpy and Restless Tombs, you know, where you're just buffing her for a, you know, giving her a might counter every turn. You can play her with, you know, what's that one? Stronghold Metropolis. You know, sacrifice a creature, give her, make her bigger. You know, stuff like that, where you're just sacrificing your own creatures to make Zara stronger, or you just play kind of like a massive board or massive removal deck, you know, around her. I mean, the possibilities are just so numerous when it comes to this card, especially when it comes down to future, you know, future sets and everything. I was saying that I think one of the things corruption needed, and I was talking to a couple of people about this, one of the things corruption needed was kind of not a board wipe, not like a mass damage kind of thing, but just the ability to like, you know, neg 1, neg 1, neg 1, you know, neg 2, neg 2, multiple creatures, not the whole board, just multiple creatures, and I'm so glad we have this. I mean, she's a pseudo board wipe. If your opponent has a lot of small creatures like goblins or elves, then she's just gonna be like, wham, board wipe. Kill off a whole bunch of goblins, kill off a couple of elves, make her gigantic, and win the game with her. Now, what this is really going to do is it's really going to help you kind of manipulate the board. Now, it is true that your creatures are smaller, but if you're planning on dropping the Zara, then you're probably playing around her ability, when your opponent might not be. She really buffs the hell out of creatures with Deadly because, you know, as long as they can deal 1 damage, then they're still killing things. There's a lot that can be said about this card, but the simple fact of the matter is she works really well in concert with Lord Karthus, and because of his removal and just because of his body. I mean, these two kind of go hand in hand together, especially since they're Dominion Corruption, which are 2 colors, or aspects, I'm sorry, that kind of work together anyway. And so we saw a lot of epic changes this patch, with Zara, Karthus, Grand Reunion, and Silencer all getting changed. Zara kind of the biggest one because it's a brand new card and all, but I mean, I can't wait to see what people do with Zara. I can't wait to see like her as a win condition in like a Chalice of Yunks deck. You know, you're sacrificing creatures to make your Chalice of Yunks bigger. To have that as a win condition as well as her. She's like an Infernal Vulture on steroids in a sense. You can just play her, buff her up, and win on the back of Zara. Now, she is vulnerable to removal. She does die to Ray of Righteousness. She does lose all her stacks to stuff like Tornado Outbreak and Pacify. But ignoring all that, I mean, you could play. She opens up a number of deck, options. She is a win condition she's a win condition that we haven't had in this game before. And I know I said this before, but I cannot stress it enough that I cannot wait to see what people do with this card. Just the ability to kind of have that extra, I'm wrapping up this video anyway. The ability to just win off the back of a creature like Zara. I mean, you could win off the back of cards like Dread Knight, but Dread Knight only was so big. You know, you couldn't really buff him up without dipping into other aspects or playing Consume Spirit. That's another thing. Consume Spirit, killing something else, buffing Zara, and then giving her the might counter from killing the thing off. Just, again, so many possibilities. I cannot wait to see what people do. And I love that the devs continue to listen to us. Thank you, really loud asshole on a motorcycle. The joys of living on a state route, or anyway, so like, just really excited about this update. Really excited that the devs continue to listen to us and continue to basically just be awesome in general. I can't wait to see what's in store for this game. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, thumbs up, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. And as always, may the cards rise to meet you and bring good RNG to your enemies.